Spider-Verse is a coming-of-age story disguised as a glitchy fever dream. It's about telling destiny to sit down while you spray paint your own name across the wall. We meet Miles Morales in Brooklyn, minding his business, drawing in his notebook, and getting pushed into a fancy new school where the hallways smell like hand sanitizer and pressure. His dad's a cop who wants straight A's and sharp edges. His mom's got warmth and worry in equal amounts. Miles wants to be normal so badly you can hear it in the way he shrinks inside that uniform. So he escapes with Uncle Aaron, the cool uncle with suspect hobbies, and they tag a wall underground, leaving a giant, "Hello, this is me" on a forgotten ceiling. Right there, a stray spider with the worst Wi-Fi bars in existence bites him. The next day is a disaster reel. Awkward height jump, sticky hands with no off switch, and a voice in his head going, "Congrats, you're broken now." He stumbles into a giant secret collider under the city where Peter Parker is fighting a science blender the size of a stadium. Peter takes one look and knows this kid's like him, promises to help, and then Kingpin crushes that promise. The city mourns a hero. Miles inherits a job he never applied for. He tries anyway, buys a knockoff suit that still smells like plastic and hope. It goes about as well as you'd expect. He faceplants off rooftops, breaks a USB drive, and cries at a grave he barely knows. That's when a different Peter drops in from another universe older, sleep-deprived, wearing sweatpants like a warning label. Perfect mentor material if your role model is rock bottom with web shooters. They break into a lab to steal data and accidentally impress a scientist who turns out to be a walking plot twist with 8 cool hobby arms. Miles learns he can go invisible when he panics and electrocute things when he super panics. 10 out of 10 power set if you like, surprises you can't control. They barely escape, and then Gwen Stacy shows up. Smooth, fast, and emotionally allergic to eye contact. She's got her own baggage, and it's heavy. Aunt May leads them to a spider shed that's basically a museum for alternate breakdowns. In strolls a black and white detective allergic to color, a caffeinated anime prodigy with a robot friend, and a cartoon pig who is somehow not the weirdest thing happening. They all agree to help shut the collider down before the city turns into confetti. But they also agree Miles is not ready, which is polite code for, "Kid, please stop almost dying near us." Miles tries to prove them wrong, but the city kicks back. His coolest uncle turns out to be the Prowler, a purple nightmare with a motorcycle and terrible timing. During a chase that could give a therapist early retirement, Aaron hesitates, Kingpin notices, and one more person dies for a future Miles never wanted. Grief slams the brakes on everything. The team tells Miles to sit out, and Peter ties him to a chair so he can't get himself killed trying to keep up. Then there's a knock at the door from his dad, who talks to a silent son through a thin slab of wood. No mask, no speeches, just a father saying he believes in a kid who can't find words yet. That's the spark. Miles isn't ready because people told him. He's ready because he decides he is. He breaks free, goes back to Aunt May's, grabs a can of paint, and makes a suit that looks like his playlist sounds. That leap glass cracking under his palms, breath held, then the city rushing up to meet him, changes everything. He's not imitating anymore. He's moving like himself, not some Peter Parker photocopy. He swings into the final fight, returns everyone to their worlds with a "you've got this" confidence nobody saw coming, and puts Kingpin down using the 2 powers people said he couldn't control. He shuts the collider, saves the day, and meets his dad as Spider-Man, heart wide open, but face still hidden. Finally learning you don't have to pick between being a good son and a good hero. Time passes. Miles is older, taller, and busier than a group chat at midnight. He's juggling school, late homework, and early beatdowns, while his parents try to talk colleges and curfews. He wishes he could tell them the truth, and the silence between them starts to feel like a third roommate. On the other side, Gwen's life is falling apart differently. She drums to escape, fights crime to breathe, and when her cop dad finds out who she is, it hurts in the way only family can. She runs, joins a bigger web, and somehow ends up back in Brooklyn on a mission, and maybe also for a boy. She and Miles reconnect, do that flirty rooftop tour that's basically therapy with better views, and then she dips again into a whole secret society of spider people run by Miguel O'Hara, a man built like a haunted statue with HR-level trust issues. He's got rules and charts and something he calls canon, which is a nice word for "this pain stays because I said so." Miles gets dragged into this because anomalies are breaking worlds. And surprise, the spider that bit him wasn't from his world. According to Miguel, Miles is not supposed to be Spider-Man. It's the exact kind of sentence you should never say to a teenager with a moral compass and new sneakers. The story rockets into a chase across a future city where trains go anywhere and consequences go faster. Miles learns a kid is marked to die so someone else can keep their tragic badge, and he says no. Full stop. He outruns hundreds of spider people on pure stubbornness and brain power, promising to save who he wants to save because heroism without choice is just a uniform. He jumps into a send-home machine to get back to his family and tell them everything. Small problem. The machine tracks the spider's world, not his. He lands in a Brooklyn without Spider-Man, where the streets feel hungrier and the sky looks tired. His dad's not around, his uncle is, and he's breathing. A few minutes later, Miles is tied to a punching bag, staring at himself in another life same eyes. Different weather. This Miles is the Prowler. He grew up under a heavier roof and learned that fists speak clearer than feelings. It's a mirror you don't want to look into, but you can't look away. Back in the right Brooklyn, Gwen figures it out. She refuses to let a friend become a cautionary tale. She gathers a crew of weirdos and geniuses, including the ones who believe in Miles, not because of canon, but because they've watched him rewrite it. A baby with goggles is there too, because apparently responsibility breeds at any age. And that's the core of it. Miles starts as a kid boxed in by everyone else's labels. Honours student, cop's son, grief sponge, wrong spider, walking glitch. Every time they tape a new tag on his chest, he rips it off and draws his own. He's not a replacement, not an accident, not a prophecy. He's the author of his mask. Rejecting expectations isn't tidy. It's messy, loud, and full of bad falls. And sometimes it gets people hurt. But it also builds something real. In the Spider-Verse, the bravest thing you can say isn't, "I accept my fate." It's, "I choose who I am." And then you jump. So here's the problem. Saying you'll jump is poetic. Actually jumping when your uncle just died, your friends don't trust you, and a crime boss wants to use a science waffle iron to crush the city? That's not poetry. That's a panic attack with a deadline. After Aaron falls, the air leaves the room. Miles is spiraling, Peter B is trying to play mentor but broke, and the whole squad is like, "Kid, we like you, but you're a walking error message." They're not being cruel. They just don't want to watch another kid die because he's trying to live up to a logo. And maybe Peter's projecting, because it's easy to call someone else unready when you've been stuck in your own fear for years. So Peter does the worst best thing. He webs Miles to a chair. The message is, we've decided for you. You sit this one out while the grown-ups fix it. It's safety disguised as mercy, and it hits Miles like another label he didn't ask for. Future hero, current furniture. Then his dad shows up at the door. He can't get in, can't see Miles through the wood, can't fix a single thing. So he does the only real dad move left. He tells his kid he loves him, without conditions, without some weird checklist for what a Morales should be. It's not be Spider-Man, it's be you. That's the key. And yeah, Miles was stuck to a chair, but the second he remembers who he wants to be, the locks stop mattering. He snaps the webbing with a jolt of electricity he barely knew he had, and suddenly that room isn't a prison, it's a launch pad. He heads to Aunt May's like he's going home for tools because, honestly, he is. He spray paints a suit that looks like his brain when it's brave black, sharp, loud, and unapologetically him. You can almost hear the fabric go, finally. Then he climbs to the top of that building, looks down at a city that never asked for him and might not want him, and jumps anyway. No coach, No chorus, no algorithm. Just a kid falling and deciding on the way down that this isn't falling anymore. This is flying with better marketing. Now he's not glitching like a tourist. He swings like he grew up on these corners. When he smashes through Aunt May's door earlier, she saw it already. Took you long enough. Grandma energy. 0 notes. That's what support looks like when it's not projecting. It's just waiting with the good web shooters. The collider's warming up. Kingpin's dressed like a skyscraper in a funeral suit. And the crew is elbow deep in chaos. Miles drops into the mess like he's always belonged there. And for a second, everyone's stunned. The kid who couldn't stick a landing is doing parkour on literal dimensions. Gwen smirks like she knew he would. Peter B smirks like he didn't, but he's pretending now. They move as a real team for the first time, not because they've got the same face, but because they've all made the same decision. I get to define me. Penny pilots through laser fire with tears in her eyes and steel in her hands. Noir throws hands like 1930 fought 2024 and decided to run it back. Ham commits unspeakable violence with a cartoon mallet and a one-liner, because homicide is fine if it's Looney Tunes physics. And Spider-Woman? Gwen's as precise as a drum fill. Every beat landing clean, no wasted movement, no wasted heart. Piece by piece, they get to the goodbyes. It's not a tragedy, it's a handoff. Miles doesn't beg them to stay, and they don't try to own his city. He returns the faith they gave him, but better. I'll get them home becomes, I'll get you home. It's not bravado. It's a promise from someone who finally trusts his own voice. He sends Penny back with a nod like, "You're not broken because your robot is." He sends Noir back with a Rubik's Cube because even in grayscale, you deserve a little color. He sends Ham back with a wink, and if you didn't tear up saying goodbye to a pig in spandex, you're lying. Then it's just Peter B. and the kid on a ledge between realities, and Miles flips the script. You gotta go home, man. The student gives the lesson right back, cleaner. Grow or go. Then it's just Miles and the big man. Kingpin's grief is a brick wall with Wi-Fi, and he's trying to download his family out of the past with brute force. He swings like a wrecking ball in Armani. Miles takes punches that would fold a truck and learns mid-air that being Spider-Man isn't fighting clean. It's fighting smart with a side of stupid bravery. He turns invisible, hits a venom blast, and pulls out the deadliest weapon in Brooklyn, the shoulder touch. You remember that joke? It's not just comedy, it's a signature. He doesn't become the last guy. He beats the villain with his own style, his rhythm, his exact mix of heart and trolling. Kingpin hits the floor, the collider dies ugly, and 20 versions of New York snap back into one exhausted, very confused city. After the smoke clears, Miles does the scariest thing on his list. He walks up to his dad in the suit. Not as Miles, not as the kid in trouble, but as the hero his father's been hunting and hating and low-key needing. He talks to him through the mask because sometimes it's easier to be honest when you're hidden. I love you. He says it loud enough that the badge and the pain don't drown it out. Back in the dorm, the labels on his life haven't magically vanished. The homework's still late, the shoes still squeak, the bed's still tiny. But the pressure's shifted. He's not trapped by the story anymore. He's steering it. He records his little manifesto, and it's not, "I'm the only Spider-Man." It's, "If I can wear the mask, anyone can." That's the opposite of a bloodline. That's an open door. And then, just when he gets a minute to breathe, the ceiling opens and a friend from a different rhythm says, "Hey, multiverse doesn't wait for anyone's recovery arc. There's a new web upstairs, a bigger one, full of rules he hasn't agreed to and leaders who think identity comes with paperwork. Because the next chapter isn't just be yourself. It's be yourself when an entire society of spiders tells you to play your part or get out. Canon events, timelines, predetermined pain someone's selling fate like it's a subscription plan with no cancel button. And Miles, who just learned to trust the messiest, bravest version of himself, is about to hear the loudest no of his life. Here's where rejecting expectations graduates from personal to political. It's one thing to push back on a mentor with a donut belly. It's another to push back on an entire club of heroes who think they're saving the universe by keeping kids in their lanes. Spoiler, he's not great at lanes. So sharpen the mask, stretch the webs. We're done asking if the suit fits. Now we're asking who decided it was one size in the first place. They take him to the headquarters like they're doing him a favor, and it's gorgeous in that who paid for this way. An endless hive of spider people swinging through fluorescent corridors, posters of tragedy like their trophies, and a boss who stomps in like HR with fangs. Miguel doesn't do small talk. He does a slideshow of inevitability. The pitch is simple and ice cold. Every spider has to take their medicine. A mentor dies, a captain dies, a city suffers. That pain is the glue holding the web together. And if you try to peel it off, universes peel with it. It's not guidance. It's a handbook for self-sacrifice with a warranty void if you show feelings. Then he points the pointer at Miles. Not as a student, more like a clerical error. The spider that bit him wasn't from his world, he says. It got yanked from somewhere else and landed in his life, which means somewhere out there. A city lost the spider it was supposed to have. So congratulations, kid. You broke the math. Let's just pause and admire the audacity of telling a teenager he's a cosmic typo. He saved people, he found his footing, and the response is a spreadsheet of grief. You can see Gwen fold in on herself, and Peter B tries that "we've all been through it" buddy routine while bouncing a baby like it's a hall pass. If empathy was weight, this room is on a diet. Hobie, though, he's allergic to meetings. He's clocked the cult energy from minute one. He spots the rules, the neat little boxes, the way the boss talks about destiny like he owns the patent, and he starts loosening screws literally and metaphorically. He's been lifting gadget parts like a raccoon with style. Miguel lays down the one command that matters. Miles can't go home, because his dad's about to put on those captain's bars, and when that happens, well, the universe has a schedule. Let the kid's father die. Save the multiverse. It's cruelty dressed as calculus, and it lands with the grace of a falling anvil. They lock Miles in a glowing prison bubble, because nothing says, "we're the good guys," like caging a teenager trying to hug his mom before dinner. And Hobie, who doesn't follow orders, gives him exactly one. Use what you've got, not what they give you. Miles charges up, leans into that spark only he has, and pops the bubble like it owes him money. That's the first crack. Then the house chases him. Not security. The house. Every flavor of spider with a badge, a snarky AI taking attendance, a spider horse doing cardio in the corner. If a spider could chase him, it did. And Miguel takes point like a freight train in a cape, because at this point, it's personal. This isn't discipline. It's a purge with better branding. Running through this kaleidoscope, Miles has to outrun not just bodies, but the idea that he's wrong for existing. That's the real wall. Gwen tries to reach him and can't say the sentence he needs to hear. Peter tries to broker peace, holding out his kid like a bribe to destiny. It's ugly. It's the first time he's seen the mask smile at him and then step aside. Miguel finally corners him and does the full confession. He tried breaking the pattern once. He slipped into a universe where he didn't belong, tried to wear another man's life, and watched it unravel into dust. That's his ghost, the reason he built a prison and called it a society. He's not just strict, he's terrified. But fear doesn't make you right. It just makes you loud. Miles isn't mad because they won't let him join the club. He's mad because the club wrote his future in marker and told him to stop smudging it. He says he's going to save his dad. Full stop. No math, no committee vote, a sentence with teeth. Now it's a sprint to the only machine that matters. The multiverses send you home track, a silver bullet that scans your DNA and throws you where you belong. Belong is doing a lot of heavy lifting there. He dives for it, pulling every trick he's learned the hard way. Camouflage, a jolt, a swing that feels like a dare, and he actually gets there. On that sleek, impossible train, it's one-on-one with Miguel. No